He stares into the mirror and pinches his belly fat, feeling the same frustration every morning despite doing hundreds of crunches, endless sweating, and strict diets. Yet that one area refuses to change. What if everything he believed about losing belly fat was wrong? What if the real reason isn't laziness but misunderstanding? Because the truth is simple. The body doesn't burn fat where you want. It burns fat where it chooses. And until this is understood, the fight continues in the wrong way. In a world full of quick fixes and flashy workouts promising fast results, especially for stubborn belly fat, people chase shortcuts for something deeply tied to confidence and control. Following influencers, targeted workouts, and strict diets. Yet months pass with little change, not because they failed, but because they were never told the truth. The human body works on systems, patterns, and consistency, not shortcuts. Fat loss is not designed to happen in one specific place, but across the whole body, based on genetics, hormones, and lifestyle, making spot reduction a myth. Or exercises like crunches strengthen muscles, but don't directly burn the fat covering them. Just like withdrawing money from a bank comes from the total balance, not one corner. Belly fat feels hardest to lose due to biology. Hormonal patterns, stress-releasing cortisol, poor sleep disrupting hunger hormones, and unhealthy lifestyles like inactivity, processed foods, and irregular habits. So when someone wakes tired, eats poorly, sits all day, feels stressed, and sleeps badly, the issue isn't hidden, it's ignored. Because fat loss isn't about doing more, it's about doing things right. Scientifically, fat loss requires a calorie deficit, but extreme dieting backfires by slowing metabolism, reducing muscle, and increasing fatigue, making the body hold on to fat even more, which is why people lose weight but don't look different. Because they lost balance, not fat properly. Muscle becomes key. As more muscle increases, energy burn even at rest, making strength training essential for long-term fat loss. Unlike cardio, which burns only during activity. Yet many people chase exhaustion instead of building efficiency. Nutrition forms the base through balanced meals, whole foods, and enough protein. Since without proper nutrition, no workout works, and without consistency, no diet lasts. The uncomfortable truth is that people don't fail due to lack of effort, but due to illusions, chasing fast results in a system that rewards patience, ignoring sleep, stress, and habits while blaming workouts, food, or genetics, losing motivation without realizing they were on the wrong path. Progress is also not always visible, as fat loss happens unevenly, with quiet internal changes before visible results, causing many to quit too early. Transformation begins when a person stops chasing quick fixes and starts understanding the body, training to build, eating with awareness, respecting sleep, managing stress, staying active, and remaining consistent, allowing gradual change over weeks and months where the entire body becomes stronger, leaner, and healthier, not just the belly. Until one day the mirror reflects not just physical change, but confidence built on truth. In the end, losing belly fat fast is not about shortcuts, exercises, or magic diets, but about understanding, discipline, and consistency. Because the body changes for those who respect its process. And when someone stops fighting their body and starts working with it, everything shifts, revealing that it was never just about belly fat, but about building a life where the body no longer holds on to it. He stands there a little longer, still looking at his reflection, but this time something inside him begins to shift. Not physically yet, but mentally, because for the first time he starts to question not his effort, but his direction, and that changes everything. Instead of asking, "Why isn't this working?" he begins asking, "What am I missing?" And that single question opens a completely new path. Because fat loss was never just about effort. It was about understanding the system his body follows every single day. A system that responds to signals, habits, and consistency far more than intensity or emotion. And so the journey truly begins not when he does more, But when he starts doing things differently, when he realizes that the body is always listening, always adapting, always responding, even when nothing seems to change on the surface. At first, the changes are invisible, almost impossible to notice, but inside his body, a quiet transformation has already started. Because the moment he begins to create a small, consistent calorie deficit, not extreme, not aggressive, but controlled, his body slowly starts shifting its energy balance, learning to use stored fat as fuel, not just during workouts, but throughout the day. And this is where patience becomes the most powerful tool, because the body does not rush. It adapts gradually, protecting itself while still moving forward. And while he once believed that sweating more meant burning more fat, he now understands that it's not about how tired he feels after a workout, but how consistently he supports his body over time. His workouts begin to change too, no longer random or based on trends, but structured with purpose, focusing on strength, control, and progression, because he learns that building muscle is not just about appearance. It's about creating a body that naturally burns more energy, even at rest, turning his system into something efficient rather than exhausted. Each rep now has intention, each session has direction, and over time his strength improves, not dramatically at first, but steadily, quietly, in a way that builds confidence from within, because he starts to feel capable, not just hopeful. At the same time, his relationship with food begins to shift, no longer driven by restriction or guilt, but by awareness and balance, because he understands that food is not the enemy. It is the fuel that powers everything: his workouts, his recovery, his hormones, his energy. And instead of cutting everything down, he starts choosing better, adding more whole foods, ensuring enough protein to support muscle repair, balancing carbohydrates for energy, and including healthy fats to support overall function. And slowly, this balanced approach becomes sustainable, something he can maintain not just for weeks, but for months and years. Sleep, once ignored, now becomes a priority, because he realizes that without proper rest, nothing else works as it should. And those late nights, irregular routines, and constant fatigue were silently working against him all along, increasing stress hormones, slowing recovery, and making fat loss harder than it needed to be. So he begins to fix it, step by step, improving his routine, creating a consistent sleep schedule, allowing his body the time it needs to repair and reset. And with that, his energy levels begin to rise. His focus improves, and even his workouts feel more effective. Not because he is doing more, but because his body is finally supported. Stress, too, becomes something he pays attention to, because he understands, now that the body does not separate mental and physical pressure, it responds to both in the same way, and constant stress keeps the body in a state where it prefers to hold on to energy rather than release it. So he begins to manage it, not perfectly, but intentionally, through movement, through routine, through moments of calm, and slowly, the pressure begins to ease, allowing his body to function the way it was meant to. Weeks pass, and while the mirror still doesn't show dramatic change, something else does: his habits, his mindset, his consistency. And this is where most people would have quit before. But he continues, because now he understands that progress is not always visible at the same pace. It is happening internally, and this patience becomes his advantage. Because while others chase quick results and stop, he keeps going, building something deeper, something real. And then, slowly, almost unexpectedly, the physical changes begin to appear, not all at once, but in small signs: the way his clothes fit differently, the slight reduction in his waist, the definition that starts to show beneath the surface, the strength he feels in movements that once felt difficult. And these small wins begin to build momentum, reinforcing the habits he has created, turning effort into identity, because he is no longer someone trying to lose belly fat. He is someone who lives in a way that supports a healthy body, but even then, the journey does not become perfect. There are still days of low motivation, moments of doubt, times when progress feels slow again. But the difference now is that he doesn't stop, because he no longer depends on motivation. He relies on discipline, on the systems he has built, on the understanding that results follow consistency, not emotion, and this shift makes all the difference, because now nothing can easily break the process he is committed to. He also begins to notice something deeper, something beyond the physical changes, a sense of control, a confidence that comes not from appearance, but from knowing that he can follow through, that he can stay consistent, that he can handle challenges without giving up. And this mental strength starts to reflect in every area of his life. Not just fitness, because discipline in one area often spreads to others, creating a ripple effect that transforms more than just the body. And as months continue to pass, the transformation becomes undeniable, not just to him but to others as well. But what they see is only the result, not the process, not the early mornings, the consistent workouts, the balanced meals, the improved sleep, the patience through slow progress, the refusal to quit when nothing seemed to change. And this is the part that most people never see, but it is the only part that truly matters eventually. He stands in front of the mirror again, just like he did in the beginning, but this time the reflection is different, not just because the belly fat is reduced, but because the person looking back is different, stronger, more disciplined, more aware and more in control. And he realizes something important in that moment, that the journey was never about removing something from his body. It was about building something within it, habits, understanding, consistency, and resilience. And this is the truth that changes everything. That belly fat was never the real problem. It was just a symptom of a lifestyle that needed to change. And once the lifestyle changed, everything else followed, slowly but surely in a way that lasts, because quick results fade, but real transformation stays. So the next time someone looks in the mirror and feels that same frustration, the answer is not to do more, not to push harder, not to chase another shortcut, but to pause, to understand, to build a system that works with the body instead of against it, because the body is not the enemy, it is the partner in this process. And when treated with consistency, patience, and balance, it responds in ways that no shortcut ever could. In the end, the journey of losing belly fat is not about speed. It is about direction, not about intensity, but about consistency.